The little fairy maid Bai Luoluo in the Moon Elder Palace failed to cross the tribulation, and her fairy soul fell into the mortal world, becoming a mortal Bai Luoluo. Bai Luoluo thought she was just an ordinary person, but later found out that her original body was actually the real daughter in the future true and false daughter script. In order to return to the heavenly court, she needed to help her original body Bai Luoluo complete the plot. Not only did she have to break into the entertainment industry and give the fake daughter as a control group, but she also had to protect the reincarnated Erlang God Yang Jian. Bai Luoluo sighed helplessly, the workload is too heavy and requires extra money. Yang Su felt that something was wrong with him. First, he kept having nightmares, and then a group of people ran out to kill him. There was always a strange woman around him. He knew that this woman was the real daughter who was only brought back by the neighboring Bai family. At first, he thought this woman was just a crazy fan, but after an accident, he began to hear the other person's inner voice. What bad luck! Why should I protect this guy? It's too difficult for me to report to the police and arrest me, despite being falsely accused of having an affair while protecting him. A dog man is not a human, damn it, I thought I had a crush on you, I'm sorry. Yang Su. Keywords of the novel. After the failure of crossing the robbery, I obtained the True 1000 Gold script without a pop-up window. After the failure of crossing the robbery, I downloaded the complete text of the True 1000 Gold script. After the failure of crossing the robbery, I obtained the latest chapter of the True 1000 Gold script to read. Chapter 1. Failure in Crossing Robbery. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. Failure in Crossing Robbery. Bang. Boom. A deafening thunder echoed through the sky above City A. The originally bright sky became dim in just a few minutes, as if being in the night. The dark clouds covered the entire sky, bringing an indescribable sense of oppression. Lightning can still be seen passing through the dark clouds. The roaring thunder, combined with occasional lightning, makes one's mood even more oppressive. The thunder grew louder, the lightning became denser, and the sky seemed like thousands of troops and horses rushing by. The apocalyptic scene frightened the passers-by as they rushed home. What's going on? Is it going to rain? The weather forecast didn't say it would rain today. No, I didn't bring an umbrella. There are still clothes hanging on the balcony, no way. Hurry up and call your husband to collect them. The pedestrians on the street hurriedly passed by, their footsteps moving rapidly. Bang, bang, bang. The thunder grew louder, and lightning in the sky almost filled the entire sky. The scene became even more spectacular, and some timid people were already about to cry. About a quarter of an hour later, the dark clouds covering a city began to gradually dissipate. The sunlight is once again scattered throughout a city. The video online about thunderstorms appearing over City suddenly became popular. Below the video, many netizens left comments. Muzi Li, which Taoist friend is here to cross the calamity? Huanglong Sanren. So there's no need to ask, isn't it just me? I happened to cross the Feisheng thunderstorm today. Filong Immortal. Even though it's me, Filong Immortal, who is crossing the calamity here, please don't touch porcelain here upstairs. The chubby man surnamed Li, don't hurt your harmony, two immortal friends. If it's really not possible, you two can make an appointment to cross the calamity again. Moonlight Fairy. This day has become really strange. Even with thunder and lightning, there hasn't been a drop of rain. Master Tai Qizhang. Isn't there really a cultivator crossing the tribulation near City A? Joyful. Don't be swayed upstairs, believe in science. The internet is bustling with this matter, and at this moment, in a certain urban village in a city, a woman in a rental house is lying on the dirty and messy floor, with an untidy shirt. At first glance, the stains on the clothes have not been cleaned for at least a week, and the shiny hair has already been oily. It's estimated that even cockroaches will have to step on it and slip. Bai Luoluo suddenly opened his eyes, with a hint of silver shining in them. The next second, he bounced up from the ground. The memory of being struck by thunder was replaying in his mind. Thinking of the scene at that time, Bai Luoluo couldn't help but shiver. I'm actually still alive. After Bai Luoluo stood up, he couldn't believe that he could survive such a powerful calamity. Her name is Bai Luoluo, and she is a scanning fairy in the immortal world. She is usually responsible for some scanning work in the immortal world. Her essence is a great white goose in the mortal world. Unlike other geese, she was born to understand human language and can cultivate independently. She was born with a section of immortal bone, which sets her apart from other geese. One day and 1 month, she descended to Earth to handle affairs and saw her unique in a small village. Coincidentally, there was a shortage of manpower in the Moon Elder Palace, so I fed her a pill of the Heavenly Old Lord's elixir. With the power of the elixir, she did not disappoint the expectations of the elderly, and transformed into a beautiful and lively fairy. Maid. From then on, the hygiene in the Moon Elder Palace was taken care of by Bai Luoluo. Of course, the elderly are also good to her. She never shortens her monthly salary, and there are also many additional benefits. Over the past 1,000 years, although she cannot be said to have practiced diligently every day, her cultivation has not fallen behind. After thousands of years of hard work, she is only one step away from becoming the top immortal in the immortal world. Once she becomes an immortal, she is no longer a fairy maid. However, even if she only holds the most insignificant fairy position, her status is higher than that of a fairy maid. Unfortunately, she failed to cross the tribulation. Even though she had withstood the first 5 thunder tribulations, Grandpa Yu gave her so many magic weapons to defend herself. Unexpectedly, she was still unable to resist the last lightning disaster. Although she did not die under the lightning disaster, she was also struck by the lightning disaster and fell to the mortal world. Bai Luoluo sighed helplessly. She originally wanted to pat the dust off her body, but the next second she froze in place. Is this a place where people live? Bai Luoluo couldn't help but exclaim in surprise. I saw fast food boxes scattered everywhere, as well as toilet paper scattered everywhere and melon seed shells and peanut shells all over the floor. By the way, there are also various beverage bottles. From mineral water to soda, from soda to beer, it can be said that there is everything. Even though Bai Luoluo often goes to the mortal world to experience, he has never seen a girl who has not yet left the palace dirty like this. Just as Bai Luoluo was stunned, a small Chang swaggered past her without any fear of her. Xiaoqiang is fat and strong, still shining with oil on his body. At first glance, his diet is good, and he has plenty of oil and water. Bai Luoluo felt goosebumps all over her body as she saw such a dirty, messy, and poor environment. She has grown so big in vain that she has never lived in such a dirty and messy place before. Even when she was still a big white goose back then, the goose pen she lived in was cleaner than this. No, she needs to clean now. 1 hour later, looking at the newly renovated rental house, Bai Luoluo clapped his hands in satisfaction. This is like a place where people live. All the garbage at home was cleared out, and Bai Luoluo ran 10 times before throwing all the garbage into the trash can downstairs. The originally empty trash can is now filled with garbage thrown out in vain. Not only has the garbage been cleaned out, but the floor, which was originally unable to see the color of the ground, has also been cleaned to the point where people can be seen. The old dirt in the house has also been completely removed, and even the dirtiest kitchen has been cleaned to a spotless finish. If an ordinary person completes these tasks, it will take at least a whole day, while she only needs an hour for nothing. Who calls her the fairy maid of the heavenly palace? She has been cleaning for 1,000 years, so who else in this mortal world has more experience in cleaning than her? After cleaning the entire room, Bai Luoluo looked at his labor results with satisfaction. She deserves it. She's so clean. She not only improved the hygiene in the room, but also washed the dirty sheets and covers to the point where they were not in shape and hung them on the balcony. After cleaning the house and putting on clean and tidy sheets, this small rental room not only has no odor, but also emits a refreshing fragrance. No, there's still a bad smell. Bai Luoluo sniffed it carefully and finally realized that the smell was coming from herself. Before today, she had never thought that any woman would make herself look so unkempt. The original owner of this body is also known as Bai Luoluo, and both parents at home have a biological sister who is 2 years older than her. The original family conditions were very ordinary, just an extremely ordinary family among the masses. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Original White Falling. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. Original White Falling. My original parents didn't have much experience. My father worked as a security guard, and my mother worked as a cooking auntie in the university cafeteria. The couple pinned all their hopes on their own daughters. Bai Cece, the eldest daughter, lived up to her high expectations and was admitted to a prestigious university. She has been the pride of her parents since childhood. And the youngest daughter, Bai Luoluo, did not love reading since childhood and only wanted to go out early to work and earn money. After graduating from high school, I immediately followed my little sisters to Dongguan to screw. After less than half a year of work, the unscrupulous boss ran away with his sister. In law due to the closure of the factory, owing 3 months of unpaid wages. Although I followed a group of colleagues to the police station and reported the case, I didn't know that I would have to wait for a long time to catch up with the unscrupulous boss. Even if people recover it, they don't know how much money is left and whether it's enough to pay them wages. I'm not too unlucky either. After leaving the unscrupulous factory, I accidentally bought a scratch chart and won a prize of 100,000 yuan. After paying 20,000 yuan of personal income tax, there is still 80,000 yuan left. I originally wanted to tell my boyfriend Qianjin about this good news, but unfortunately, Qianjin fell in love with the factory next door. Having experienced unemployment and heartbreak, the whole person was greatly affected and returned to a city with this money from Dongguan. Because I didn't have the face to see my parents and didn't want my older sister, who had been unruly since childhood, to laugh at me, I rented a small apartment with 1 bedroom and 1 living room in the urban village of a city. After settling down in the urban village, I didn't rush to find a job. Instead, I spent every day playing games and reading novels in a rented house. Order takeout when hungry, and drink drinks when thirsty. When playing games, I also occasionally add money to the game. This 80,000 yuan sounds like a lot, but it doesn't actually cost much. I had no income in my original life and had been sitting around at home, spending almost all my money in less than 4 months. By the way, the reason why the original body cracked was also because they played games all night and died suddenly on the way to the bathroom while getting up. Can staying up all night for 3 nights without taking a shower or washing hair for 7 days keep you from smelling bad? Bai Luoluo couldn't bear the stench on his body, so he went to the bathroom to take a shower. He washed his hair several times before coming out of the bathroom to make sure it was clean. Fortunately, there are still 2 sets of clean clothes to wear at home. If you don't even have 1 set of clean clothes, you will really lose sight. While taking a shower, she also caught a glimpse of her current appearance through the bathroom. How to put it, the original body is quite good, with a pair of big eyes, a slightly baby fat face, pink skin, a small mouth, and smooth black hair. Although this appearance cannot be called a beautiful woman, it is definitely a cute and adorable girl. However, due to not being exposed to the sun for a long time, playing games all day, and frequently not washing their faces, they have developed some acne and pimples on their faces. These are all minor issues for Bai Luoluo. Although her body is now mortal, her soul is a serious immortal soul. As long as it takes some time, this physical body will be transformed by her immortal soul. By then, all the physical ailments, big and small, can be completely eliminated. I took a beautiful shower and lay in bed, using my phone to learn about the development of the mortal world in recent years. After all, she has not been to the mortal world for 1,000 years, and her understanding of the mortal world is only heard from other immortal officials. Sure enough, technological progress in the mortal world is fast. Especially this phone, a small phone can tell the world's affairs, which is much more fun than the laws of the immortal world. Previously, I only heard about the immortals who could travel to the mortal world, saying how much fun it was. After arriving in the mortal world, I realized that it was indeed much more fun than those immortals said. She understood why so many immortals like to transform into mortals and travel to the mortal world. They are not here to travel, they are simply here to play. Bai Luoluo let out a groan in his heart, realizing that he had already seen through the true faces of those immortals. Suddenly running into the mortal's body, Bai Luoluo had no intention of playing with his phone all the time. Now the most important thing is to find a way back to the heavenly court. She already has a plan on how to go back. This is the Immortal Realm Resident Office, abbreviated as the Resident Office. Bai Luoluo looked up at the sign of the large Qianjin bookstore above her head. Not bad, this resident office is seen by ordinary people as a library, and it is also a very old library. The room emitted a musty smell unique to old houses. In today's society, there are not many people who read paper books, and even fewer are willing to rent books in such old and dilapidated houses. However, this is exactly what the staff of the resident office are willing to see, unless necessary. They actually do not want to have too much contact with ordinary people. After all, there are differences between immortals and mortals. Bai Luoluo lifted his foot and walked into the Qianjin bookstore, where only a young man was looking at the shop. There is only one small window inside the house, and there is not even a light on inside. This light, this environment, no one visiting is simply too normal. Perhaps someone had entered the bookstore, and the young man who was originally sleeping on the table slowly raised his head and looked at Bai Luoluo who had just entered. Sleeping trough. Fairy friend, what's wrong with you? How could your soul run into the body of an ordinary person? Li Qin looked at the white fall of his soul, which was emitting fairy light despite his body being mortal. The whole immortal was so shocked that he couldn't even close his mouth. I thought it was some ordinary person who ran into the store when he was idle, but unexpectedly, a fairy friend came in. Shangxian, help. Bai Luoluo ran forward and Wei Chu Baba told Li Qing about the fact that he had failed to cross the tribulation but woke up again in the body of a mortal. Li Qing was actually a plum tree that had been cultivated for thousands of years before ascending to become an immortal. After becoming an immortal, he was sent to work in a local office. Li Qing stayed in the mortal world for thousands of years and met many immortals. Due to various circumstances, he mistakenly entered the mortal world and went to the resident office to seek help. Although Li Qing has experienced many things, he has never encountered a situation like Bai Luoluo where the immortal soul ran into the mortal body due to the failure of crossing the tribulation. I currently have no way to solve your situation. Why don't you leave your contact information first? After I report your situation to the higher-ups, we can see if there is a solution. Li Qing said that he is currently unable to help. He is just a small immortal with a low official position. This is the first time he has encountered such a situation, and he also feels dark in his eyes. Upon hearing this, Bai Luoluo felt somewhat disappointed but could only wait patiently for the news. With such a large immortal realm standing on their heads, it's impossible that no immortal can solve her problem. No matter how bad it is, isn't there still Grandpa Yu standing on top? Other immortals don't care about her, but Grandpa Yu can still ignore her. Bai Luoluo left her contact information with Li Qing and asked Li Qing to help her contact the elderly. Li Qing saw it was just a small matter, so she agreed to help her pass the message to the lunar elder. Before Bai Luoluo left, Li Qing also taught her a set of techniques to restrain the immortal light inside her body. This set of techniques is known to all those in charge of it, specifically designed to conceal one's identity. In the human world, even those so-called virtuous experts cannot see through their disguise. Bai Luoluo is now overflowing with immortal light. If there is no interference, it will definitely attract cultivators from the mortal world in no time. Although it is now the end of the Dharma era in the mortal world, there are also practitioners, but not many who truly possess abilities. The chance of encountering Bai Luoluo is even smaller, but be careful and not make a big mistake. There are immortals in the world that cannot be exposed. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Fake Qianjin dominates the entertainment industry. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. Fake Qianjin dominates the entertainment industry. Li Qing asked Bai Luoluo to go home and wait for news, which lasted for 3 days. 3 days later, Li Qing finally contacted her. When Li Qing asked her to come over to meet, Bai Luoluo was so happy that she almost ran away with one of her shoes. He even spent a huge amount of money directly taking a taxi and sat at the entrance of the Qianjin book house. I'm about to go home soon, and there's no need to save too much money. I have to spend what I need. Hurrying to the Qianjin bookstore, Li Qing was sitting behind the counter playing with his phone. When he saw her enter the store, he called her over. Li Qing didn't waste any time, just told her everything she wanted to know. Your immortal soul running into the mortal body should be just an accident, and it's easy to leave. As long as this body dies, your immortal soul can return to the heavenly court. That means as long as I die, I can go back, right? Bai Luoluo's eyes lit up. What are you waiting for? As soon as she left the door, she immediately found a car to collide with. Let's just forget it, the other driver will definitely get into trouble. How about finding a river and jumping into it for nothing? Just as Bai Luoluo was planning how to commit suicide, Li Qing interrupted her wild thoughts. Don't think about suicide, suicide is not allowed. Since you have now become a mortal fallen person, you must live her life for her in order to settle the cause and effect between you two. Li Qing looked at Bai Luoluo and said. Wait, right. Bai Luoluo from the mortal world has already died suddenly in her own home. What kind of cause and effect can we have? What she received was just a corpse, not a snatch of Bai Luoluo while she was alive, there was no causal involvement in it at all. This is the information about Bai Luoluo in the mortal world that was passed on to me from the underworld. You can read it yourself. Li Qing handed a page of paper directly to Bai Luoluo. What kind of ghost is this? Bai Luoluo looked at a few large words on a thin page of paper and looked at Li Qing in front of him in confusion. Didn't you tell her to show her the information about her predecessor and what's going on? You can open it and take a look before we talk, Li Qing gestured to her. After Bai Luoluo glanced at Li Qing, he suspiciously flipped open the page and found that there were actually quite a few small characters. In order to figure out what was going on, she began to take it seriously from the beginning. This seems to be an introduction to a certain novel. It didn't take much time to finish reading the introduction of a novel, and Bai Luoluo quickly finished reading it. After watching it, she was not feeling well anymore. Bai Luoluo took a deep breath and suppressed the urge to scream. The female supporting character in this introduction is truly precious, not my body. She finally understood why Li Qing said she had a causal relationship with this body. That's why. Oh my goodness, isn't that how you play with me? Li Qing nodded and looked at her sympathetically. That fake daughter, white and cute, had good luck before her reincarnation and won a prize in the underworld to get a chance to customize her life. This is the script introduction she customized, and Bai Luoluo is the female supporting character in this script, so it is impossible for the underworld to agree to let her return to the heavenly court before she completes this script. If Bai Luoluo is an important figure in the heavenly court, it's okay, but unfortunately she is just a small fairy maid. Is it difficult for Yan Wangye to give her a small fairy maid face? But it's none of my business, I'm not the one who falls for nothing in this script. If you really want to find someone to accompany this Bai Mengmeng to complete the script, then after I leave, just call back the original Bai Luoluo. The Bai Luoluo in this script is her, not me. The key is that it's not really her business. The Yen Prince of the Underworld is really not a good person, bullying her like a low-level fairy. Bai Luoluo was so angry that he bit his small white teeth. Well. I'm afraid people won't be able to call me back. Li Qing remained silent for 3 seconds and said with an unbearable expression on her face. What's going on? Bai Luoluo asked urgently. The original owner of this body, after death, knows his future destiny and is unwilling to come back. Taking advantage of the ghostly situation in the underworld, she has already jumped off the path of reincarnation, so this script can only be completed by you. Li Qing silently and madly roast that it was I who didn't want to come back. When I came back, I would not only be ignored by my parents, but also be hated by my brothers, and my lover would also be moved to love me. In the end, the female supporting character became a stepping stone for the female lead and was tragically trampled to death by several thugs in a dimly lit alley. What kind of life tragedy is this? The underworld is really not a human being, actually helping to customize this kind of life script. I don't know what bad things that ordinary person Bai Luoluo did in his previous life, so this life will be arranged clearly. No wonder she would rather be reincarnated than come back. As Li Qing's pale complexion worsened, he coughed lightly and continued, you don't have to be too pessimistic. Being an immortal requires understanding how to be flexible. After you join this script, it's impossible for the underworld to force you to listen to them no matter how you live. You can do whatever you want, as long as the main storyline doesn't collapse. They won't demand too much from you for anything else. The main plot of this script is how Bai Mengmeng climbed to the top of the entertainment industry step by step and was favored by her loved ones. There are many supporting roles in the script, and there is more than one stepping stone. Even if one of them is not so obedient, it is harmless. Even if Li Qing said so, her pale complexion didn't improve much. She didn't have the leisure time to accompany these ordinary people in performing any family ethics dramas. I don't want to blacken out a man and end up dying in a dirty alley, or being trampled to death by a group of thugs. This is not just one, but a group. That Bai Mengmeng is poisonous. He actually created such a script to deceive people. I'll give you this script. You can arrange for someone else to play the role of the cannon fodder, Qianjin. I'm not interested, Bai Luoluo said expressionlessly. Don't you want to go back, as long as you are willing to play a script that belongs to the true daughter. After finishing this play, I will ask the people from the underworld to arrange a suitable way for you to die. If you die, you can go back immediately, Li Qing hurriedly said. This is not my fault. Why should I cooperate with the underworld to perform this play, and play this truly precious role? What benefits do I have? This is clearly a mistake made by the underworld, which caused ordinary people to unexpectedly die in vain. I am innocent, and the whole thing has nothing to do with me. Why do I have to clean up the mess for the underworld, and I don't take the salary from the underworld? What kind of dream do you want her to work for nothing without paying her a salary? But if you don't agree, then your cause and effect with this mortal cannot be settled, and you can't go back to the heavenly court either. Even if you commit suicide now, your soul will still be trapped in the mortal world due to causal constraints, Li Qing said helplessly. I don't believe it. There's only one way to get me back to heaven. Anyway, if you want me to work for free, it's impossible. If it's a big deal, I'll go out and find a crooked neck tree to hang myself now. After speaking, Bai Luoluo snorted coldly at Li Qing, clearly refusing to accept the PUA. She stopped talking nonsense and turned around wanting to leave. I didn't expect to be stopped by a familiar voice just 2 steps away. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. The Appearance of Lunar Elders. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. The Appearance of Lunar Elders. Bai Luoluo suddenly turned around and saw an old man with a fairy-like appearance and white hair standing beside Li Qing with a smile on his face. I don't know when he came, but Bai Luoluo was completely unaware. Grandpa Yu. Bai Luoluo was so excited at the sight of Yu Lao that she wanted to pounce. The old man reached out and easily blocked her 1 meter away from him. Alright, now is not the time to renew the old. I have already heard from Li Qin about your matter. There is only one way for you to return to the heavenly court now, which is to completely cut off the cause and effect with that ordinary person who fell into vain looking at the little girl in front of her. Yu Lao also had a headache on his face. How could this girl survive this calamity and still cause so many things? For her sake, he's almost too busy for this month-old man. Do you mean, I still have to play with those ordinary people? Bai Luoluo pouted uncontrollably. Li Qin retreated to the side when he saw the appearance of the lunar elder. The matter of persuading Bai Luoluo should be left to the elder. This girl is really difficult to deal with. I thought Grandpa Yu would have a way to help her, but I didn't expect even Grandpa Yu to say the same. Is this actress destined for her? You really have to act in this play, continued the Moon Elder. Although there are other ways, it's not the best choice for you. I made you agree to go back to acting, just to give you a chance. A chance? What chance? Bai Luoluo couldn't understand. But she also knows that Grandpa Yu won't harm her. A while ago, the plague god escaped from the immortal prison, did you know? Asked the Moon Elder. This matter is so big, how could I not know? Bai Luoluo was a bit surprised. Is this opportunity related to the plague god? In the era when the plague god was active, she had not yet been born, only knowing that the plague god was a very evil deity who had caused mortal suffering for her own selfish interests. Later, Erlang God Yang Jian was ordered to capture him back to the heavenly court, and the Jade Emperor personally issued an order to imprison him in an immortal prison for eternity. Just before she crossed the immortal thunder robbery, the plague god escaped from the immortal prison and disappeared without a trace. Many experts in the immortal world want to catch him, but unfortunately they have not been able to find his whereabouts. According to the speculations of the immortal families, this plague god may have fled to the lower realm. After finally escaping, the most likely thing he would do was to seek revenge against the Erlang god. After all, Erlang Shen personally killed the wife of the plague god back then. Thinking of what happened back then, Yu Lao couldn't help but sigh. It is truly sad and lamentable that a fairy in the hall has been possessed by a small demon from the lower world. Bai Luoluo has also heard of this matter. Legend has it that when the plague god was ordered to spread the plague in the lower world, he met a fox demon and fell madly in love with that fox demon. Even for the sake of his beloved little fox demon, he defied the will of the Jade Emperor and stayed in the lower world with all his heart. That fox demon, although in love with the plague god, is not a good demon. In order to transform into human form and even practice eating human hearts, the god of plague not only did not stop him, but also helped him harm mortals together. The story of the immortal demon falling in love quickly became known to the Jade Emperor, who then sent the Erlang god to the lower realm to capture the god of plague. As for the fox demon, Erlang Shen ended her life directly. Because of this incident, the god of plague and the god of Erlang formed an enmity of killing their wives, and the two immortals could be said to be immortal. So, after the plague god escaped, he ran to seek revenge against the Erlang god, which was not a difficult thing to guess. So, what's the chance you're talking about? Is it related to the god of plague and the god of Erlang? If it's okay, Grandpa, you wouldn't specifically mention them. Indeed, I hope you can stay in the mortal world to temporarily protect the reincarnation of Erlang God, taking advantage of your ordinary identity as a white fallen person. Yu Lao said solemnly. Protect the reincarnation of Erlang God. Me. I'm not mistaken, I wouldn't be a match for the plague god. Bai Luoluo immediately exclaimed loudly. She is very self-aware, okay. With just her 2 moves, the plague god can't beat her like playing. As the judicial deity of the immortal realm, Erlang Shen has enough strength to rank among the top 3 in the heavenly court. It took a day and night to defeat the plague god with this strength. She is a little fairy maid, hoping that she will protect the reincarnation of Erlang God from the hands of the plague god. Isn't this a commotion? I'm not asking you to deal with the plague god. Erlang God has already reincarnated and is now just a mortal body. Constrained by the rules of the heavenly way, the god of plague cannot directly attack mortals, and can only bewitch some mortals to become tools in his hands. You can't deal with the god of plague, you can deal with a few mortals. As for the god of plague, there will be other immortals taking action, you don't have to worry. Even if I were to protect Erlang God, I wouldn't need to act with a group of mortals. Is there any direct relationship between these two things? Bai Luoluo frowned slightly. Previously, due to the plague god escaping to the human world, Bai Jinxing personally went to the underworld and hoped that the underworld could provide some help. But the king of hell only agreed to consider it and did not immediately agree. Because of your matter, the underworld has already relaxed its stance, as long as you agree to continue completing this script. The underworld will provide necessary assistance to the heavenly court to assist us in locating the god of plague. When Erlang Shen encounters danger, he will also send people to warn us. Speaking of which, Luoluo also had a helpless expression on his face. In the past, the underworld was just a subsidiary unit of the heavenly court. At that time, if you wanted the underworld to help, the heavenly court could handle it with just one sentence. But since the immortal and mortal realms no longer have contact, the underworld has also become independent. Now the heavenly court can no longer be the master of the underworld. If they are not willing to help, there is nothing the heavenly court can do. After finally seizing an opportunity, the heavenly court naturally refuses to let it go. So no matter how Luoluo protested, she really made it to this play. So you made a deal with me and the underworld. Bai Luoluo looked at Luoluo expressionlessly, which made Luoluo feel a bit guilty. Fortunately, Bai Luoluo had no intention of delving deeper. She was well aware of her position, and the lower-level immortals had no immortal power. Struggling in such matters was meaningless. Rather than engaging in meaningless resistance, it is better to strive for more benefits for oneself. If I agree, what benefits can there be? Bai Luoluo asked straightforwardly. When asked, she thought of Erlang Shen and couldn't help but frown. Her relationship with Erlang Shen is not very good. It can be said that she has been unilaterally hating Erlang Shen for a long time. That guy is known for being unfriendly. Apart from her, there are countless immortals in the immortal world who dislike Erlang God. Of course, there are also many people who like him. Who would say that guy is handsome, and many fairies have been attracted to him. Unfortunately, Erlang Shen is just a flower from the high mountains, and so far no female fairy has successfully seduced people. It's really frustrating to think about asking her to protect the people she hates. As long as you can protect the safety of Erlang God while you are in the mortal world, so that he can smoothly cross the tribulation. When you return to the heavenly court, the old lord will give you a fairy pill, which can increase your skill by 500 years. On the side of the Queen Mother, she will also give you 1,000 peaches, and other immortal families who have a good relationship with the Erlang God will also give you some magic treasures. When your immortal soul returns to its position, you will definitely be able to ascend one level and obtain a good immortal position. Believe in Grandpa Yu, as long as you agree to complete this task, Grandpa Yu will definitely not let you suffer. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Plot Opening. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5 Plot Opening. Of course, these benefits were all fought for by the Moon Elder for Bai Luoluo. If it weren't for the Lunar Elder's intervention, there wouldn't have been so many benefits to take. After all, if a high-ranking official presses someone to death, as long as the higher authorities give a direct order, it is difficult for them to fail and still disobey the will of the Jade Emperor. Not everyone has the power to cause a commotion in the heavenly palace. Li Qing, who was standing beside her, almost dropped her chin and shed tears of envy when she heard that Bai Luoluo could actually get so many good things. That's the elixir of the old lord and the peaches of the Queen Mother. These two treasures are very famous in the immortal world, but because they are too precious, they are not something that lower-level immortals like them can enjoy. Lao Jun's elixir sells very expensive. Even if he sells it, he cannot afford to buy one. This little white goose is really lucky. How could such a good thing not fall on his head? Equally shocked was Bai Luoluo. I never expected that this Erlang god would be so valuable. Sure enough, imperial relatives and relatives are different. Who would let them be the nephew of the Jade Emperor? It's just a small protection task. Even the fairy pill of the old lord and the peach of the queen mother have been taken out. Although Bai Luoluo couldn't wait to nod and agree in her heart, she still hesitated when she thought of that annoying script. It's not impossible for me to agree, but besides what Grandpa you just said, this script also needs to be modified. Especially about the part about the true daughter's death. How can I play it? The final fate of Qianjin is extremely tragic. She doesn't want to be ravaged to death by a group of thugs in a dim alley like in the script. That Bai Meng is really a pervert. In this script, any female supporting character who goes against her will have a good ending. Don't worry, as long as you are willing to agree, I will go to the underworld to raise your request. I think it shouldn't be a problem. Yuelao certainly wouldn't let Bai Luoluo go through all the plot seriously. After all, that true daughter is really miserable. Luoluo is a member of his Moon Old Palace and also the daughter of Huanghua. Leaving aside the rest, this truly precious ending must be changed. Even if it's death, it must be easier to die. The way of death in the script is definitely not good. Since Yuelao has already agreed, Bai Luoluo has nothing to refuse. After all, the old man gave too much. She was just a little fairy. How could she refuse? It doesn't seem like much to accompany them in a performance. It doesn't really matter whether we reward them or not. The main thing is that I am someone who loves the entertainment industry very much. Thinking of the pile of good things I am about to get. The elixir of the Supreme Lord and the peach of the Queen Mother, both of which can only be enjoyed by those immortals with status and status. She is such a little fairy. Even if she spends her whole life in the immortal world doing odd things, she cannot come into contact with these good things. Now all she needs to do is protect Erlang God in the mortal world. Even if she hates Erlang God no matter how much, she won't be at odds with the benefits she gets. Look, she must have taken good care of Erlang Shen. From now on, if anyone dares to harm the hair of Erlang Shen, her white goose fairy will be the first to refuse. After finishing Bai Luoluo, Li Qing and Yu Lao breathed a sigh of relief. I can say that I agree, and now they can also make the payment. Just as Bai Luoluo was preparing to obediently leave the plot, it quietly began. A grassroots girl named Bai Luoluo was taken back to the wealthy Bai family by a butler sent by the Bai family on a sunny day from a cheap rental house in the urban village. When the luxury car entered the village, it attracted countless people's gazes, either overtly or covertly. When Bai Luoluo picked up his luggage and got into the car, it attracted envy and jealousy from everyone around him. Of course, most people just think that she has found a wealthy old boy for themselves, and they cannot think that she is a true daughter recognized by a wealthy family. Sitting in the luxury car, Bai Luoluo had already recalled the description of the Bai family in the script. In the script setting, the Bai family is ranked among the top 10 billionaires in City A. 20 years ago, Mrs. Bai and Bai Luoluo's foster mother gave birth in the same hospital. Who knew that the enemies of the Bai family exchanged two babies in order to retaliate against the Bai family? From then on, the little princess of the Bai family fell into a chicken coop and lived an ordinary life. But Bai Meng, who was originally born into an ordinary family, lived a wealthy life like a little princess. In addition to her status as a wealthy young lady, she is also a popular child star in China. Bai Meng, who debuted as a child star, was already a new generation of influencers at the age of only 20. But the true daughter fell in vain, yet she had never even attended university and had previously worked hard in Dongguan. Looking at the gap between the two, Qianjin's heart became increasingly unbalanced, and in addition, her biological parents and foster parents were all helping fake Qianjin. The true daughter completely blackened out and embarked on the path of cannon fodder killing. Unconsciously, Bai Luoluo has been taken to a luxurious villa area. Miss, please follow me. The car stopped in front of a villa, and the butler was leading Bai Luoluo towards the house. Just as they were about to step into the Bai family gate, a luxury car happened to pass by. The fleeting figure inside the car left Bai Luoluo stunned for 3 seconds. Isn't it? Isn't that the Erlang God in the car? Surprisingly, she met the reincarnation of Erlang God so quickly. Is it difficult for Erlang Shen to live next door to her house? No wonder Grandpa you would say that her current identity would make it easier for her to approach Erlang Shen, because they are neighbors. That is Yang Su, the second son of the Yang family next door. Like Miss Cute, he is also a celebrity. 3 years ago, in the popular legend of Erlang God, Yang Su played the role of Erlang God, which is well known to everyone. Miss Luo must have also heard of his name. The butler noticed that Bai Luoluo had been staring in the direction of Yang Su's car, so he took the initiative to mention Yang Su's identity. You said he's a celebrity. He's the kind of celebrity in the entertainment industry. Bai Luoluo was shocked. Isn't it? It's such a joke that Tang Erlang went to mess with the entertainment industry. It has shocked the immortal world for 100 years. Miss Luoluo, haven't you heard of Yang Ershao's name? The butler looked at Bai Luoluo with a hint of doubt in his eyes. In the country of China, Yang Su's fame is not small. Even those over 50 years old like him know about Yang Su and the TV dramas he has acted in. Surprisingly, there are still young people who have not heard of Yang Su's fame. No, today is the first time I've heard that his appearance is quite good in the entertainment industry. It's really good. Bai Luoluo couldn't help but laugh as she spoke. The butler had no idea what she was laughing about. If we can get in touch with those little sisters in the fairyland now, she must share this big gossip with her friends in the fairyland. It's really interesting. That's Erlang Shenyi, the most law-abiding immortal in the entire heavenly realm, who has actually gone to infiltrate the entertainment industry now. No need to ask, this must have been arranged by Siming. I have long heard that Siming Xingjuan was caught by Erlang Shen for littering everywhere. He not only fined but also criticized the entire immortal world. No wonder Siming seized this opportunity to seek revenge. During their conversation, the two finally walked into the front door of the Bai family. The villa of the Bai family is located in Hanlong Mountain Villa. As the top luxury mansion in City A, the people living here in Hanlong Villa are either wealthy or wealthy. There are a total of 20 villas in the entire Hanlong Villa, and the Bai family lives in Villa number 10. The whole villa has 3 floors, and the total area of the house is at least 1,000 square meters. There is a large garden and swimming pool outside, all of which are managed by dedicated personnel. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Bai Family. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. Bai Family. When Bai Meng followed the butler into the house, she found a whole room full of people standing neatly in the living room. These people showed anticipation, suspicion, indifference, and disgust towards her arrival. Luoluo, I am my mother. Ms. Su Wanning, the biological mother of Bai Luoluo, began to cry at her as soon as she saw Bai Luoluo entering the room. Bai Luoluo was stunned for a moment, and as soon as he walked up to Su Wanning, she hugged him in her arms. Bai Luoluo. Does she also want to cry twice in response to the situation? Cough, don't scare the child, just let the child come back. Bai Maolin gently pulled Su Wanning apart. You're just Luoluo, right? I'm your father Bai Maolin, this is your mother Su Wanning, and these are your brothers over here. Bai Maolin looked at the others inside the house and introduced Bai Luoluo one by one. This is your elder brother Bai Fandong. Currently, he is the CEO of our Bai family, and he handles most of the company's major and minor matters. This is your sister Law Han Liangxin, holding their son Bai Jian in her arms. You can call him Xiao Yan. Xiao Yan is 5 years old this year and is currently attending kindergarten. Bai Maolin first introduced the eldest son, Bai Fandong, and his family of 3. Bai Luoluo secretly poked and scrutinized the handsome men and beautiful women in this room. The appearance of the Bai family is very high, and the boss Bai Fandong's facial features are 3-dimensional, giving people a very cold feeling, with a strong sense of dominance in the overall culture. Luoluo, welcome home. Sister-in-law Han Liangxin smiled and looked at Bai Luoluo, looking forward to his return. Bai Luoluo knew that this sister-in-law was really looking forward to her return, and this expectation was not just a facade. Because Han Liangxin is also one of the malicious female supporting roles. Han Liangxin is the daughter of the wealthy Han family. She and Bai Fandong are just ordinary business marriages, and there was no emotional connection between the two before marriage. After marrying into the Bai family, she also worked hard to get along well with Bai Fandong. Bai Fandong has always been indifferent to her, and even has repeatedly thrown a tantrum at her little sister Bai Mengmeng. Due to the presence of Bai Mengmeng, Han Liangxin is not very likable in the Bai family. Several of Bai Mengmeng's brothers treat her as a malicious sister-in-law and always worry about her bullying their sister. Although Bai Maolin and Su Wanning have not scolded Han Liangxin, they are not close enough to her. Even if she gave birth to her eldest grandson Bai Jian, she didn't receive much points. On the contrary, her son was taught not to be too close to her. No wonder Han Liangxin is the most popular person in the family for Bai Luoluo. After all, real and fake daughters are naturally in opposition. How could she not welcome someone to fight against Bai Mengmeng with her? Big brother, sister-in-law, Bai Luoluo obediently called out. Immediately afterwards, Bai Maolin began to introduce his family members. The second son, Bai Jingnan, is 28 years old and 189 meters tall. He has a standard model figure, fair skin, and a delicate appearance. He is unmarried and a tech tycoon. He has started his own technology company and is doing business with great success. The third son, Bai Fengxi, is 26 years old and 187 meters tall. Not to mention his physique, not a single member of the Bai family is overweight. Bai Fengxi is the most beautiful among the 4 brothers, with a face as beautiful as a crown, lips as smooth as grease, and a pair of seductive peach blossom eyes. No wonder she is known as the dream of 300 million girls. By the way, Bai Fengxi is also a member of the entertainment industry. In the script, he is a top male star and Bai Mengmeng from the same company, and his popularity is much higher than Bai Mengmeng's. Lao Si Bai Chenbei, 23 years old, gives the impression of being cool. Bai Chenbei enjoys extreme luck and has started his own extreme sports club. Whenever he has free time, he makes plans to go out and play with a group of like-minded people. These 4 brothers have different appearances, but they all have the same girl control attributes. In the script, it is mentioned that Bai Luoluo, the younger sister, was not welcomed by any of the 4 brothers, as they were afraid that she would bully Bai Mengmeng when she returned home. After Bai Maolin introduced both sides, except for his eldest son who welcomed him, the other 3 sons just watched Bai Luoluo silently, seemingly unwilling to even shout. Seeing this, Bai Maolin gave his 3 sons a warning look, and the 3 brothers reluctantly spoke up. "Welcome home," Bai Jingnan said reluctantly. "Since you're back, just be calm and don't bring back those bad habits from outside." Bai Fengxi's eyes were full of warnings. "Mengmeng is very simple and won't affect you anything. Don't get along with her," Bai Chenbei frowned. Bai Luoluo _ She knew it would be like this. "Bai Mengmeng is still at our house, hasn't she returned to her own house?" Bai Luoluo asked, pretending to be puzzled. Su Wanning felt a bit embarrassed. "Mengmeng is also our daughter. We have been raising her for so many years, how can we say goodbye to her? We have already agreed with her biological parents that in the future, Mengmeng will still be in our family, and the filial piety we should give them will not be less than theirs. Luoluo, you should understand Mom. Although Mengmeng is not her biological child, Mom has raised her for so many years. Sending her away is really hard for Mom to bear. As she spoke, Su Wanning began to sob again. Bai Luoluo shrugged and said, "Is it so important for me to understand or not? Anyway, whether I agree or not, you will keep the person, won't you? It's good you know." Impulsive Bai Chenbei proudly said to her. "Since she won't go back, what about me? How do you plan to arrange for me? Are you planning to tell the public that I am the adopted daughter or illegitimate daughter of this family?" Bai Luoluo looked at the Bai family with a face that was not right, not right. "Of course not," Su Wanning quickly said. "We have already discussed it, and to be honest, you are twins. It's just that you accidentally lost one when you were a child, and we only found it recently," Bai Wanning quickly explained. "Do we look like twins?" Bai Luoluo raised her eyebrows. "Do the fraternal twins understand?" "They are indeed wild girls who have never read a book," said the second son, Bai Jingnan, disdainfully. Bai Luoluo slammed the table fiercely, and a loud bang startled everyone in the Bai family. No one expected her to suddenly pat the table. Saying I haven't read a book is a proper insult. Do you want to read my high school graduation certificate? Sigh, my hand hurts. I knew I didn't have to exert so much force. Anan, please say a few words less. Bai Maolin whispered to Bai Jingnan. Bai Jingnan reluctantly calmed down, but still muttered that it was just high school. What's the difference between the Bai family and illiterate people in them? I didn't hear Bai Luoluo. Whatever you want, is my room ready? Bai Luoluo didn't want to waste time with the Bai family. She would rather go back to her room and take a nap. Ready, Mom will take you to see the room, she said, leading the way and walking towards the second floor with Bai Luoluo. Everyone watched as the mother and daughter went upstairs, and the living room fell into silence. Your room is the corner on the second floor. Mom will take you to take a look. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. You want to enter the entertainment industry. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The source has no content or has errors. Chapter 8. Food, she's coming. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. Food, she's coming. But within a few minutes, she couldn't feel proud anymore. Do you think Bai Luoluo dare not provoke her? That's because she overthought it. As soon as he left the kitchen, he went to complain to the butler. Butler uncle, don't my parents welcome me back? If they welcome me, why would even a servant dare to ride on my head? Bai Luoluo ran to the butler and openly began to give a small report. The butler was surprised and immediately began to inquire about the reason. After knowing what had happened, the butler didn't get used to the servant either. He called her over and directly asked her to settle her salary and leave. The Bai family cannot tolerate the servants who commit the above crimes. No matter how the relationship between the several masters of the Bai family is, Bai Luoluo is always the true daughter of the Bai family and one of the masters of this family. You are a servant who wants the master to see your face. Such servants are not affordable for the Bai family. You can't drive me away. I was introduced by Miss Meng Meng, you can't drive me away. The maid stopped immediately when she heard that the butler was about to fire her. This maid's name is Zhou Mei, and she is a relative of a classmate of Bai Meng Meng. Zhou Mei's family had a difficult time, with sick children and a gambling husband. After Bai Meng Meng learned about this, she probably asked Zhou Mei to help the Bai family out of sympathy. After arriving at the Bai family, Zhou Mei also remained honest and upright for a period of time. But later on, with more knowledge, my heart became even wilder. When it comes to work, it becomes ambiguous and only pretends in front of the owner's house. The butler is not unaware of Zhou Mei's changes. He didn't handle them before because everything Zhou Mei did was just a small matter, and he didn't make any major mistakes. And Bai Meng Meng has always been favored, he doesn't want to offend her because of Zhou Mei. Now that the Bai family has experienced such incidents of genuine and fake wealth, there is an extra Bai Luoluo in the family. Zhou Mei made a fool of herself, so he could take this opportunity to drive this person out of the Bai family. The Bai family is a wealthy and aristocratic family, and people like Zhou Mei, who are indecisive and have high ambitions but low skills, naturally cannot stay any longer. Zhou Mei's words cannot threaten the butler. He has served in the Bai family for many years, and it is not something that Zhou Mei can threaten. Zhou Mei was quickly dragged out by someone, and Bai Luoluo watched a good show on the side, almost sitting there with a handful of melon seeds to eat. "Miss Luoluo, what do you want to eat? I'll arrange for the chef to cook it for you." After Zhou Mei was taken away, the butler's expression softened a bit and asked Bai Luoluo. "Of course I want to eat delicious food, such as lobster, abalone, and so on. If you have it, make it for me." Bai Luoluo is not polite. She's almost starving to death. She was picked up by the Bai family early this morning and didn't even have breakfast. Anyway, the Bai family has money, so of course they want to eat something good. The housekeeper didn't say much when he heard that the food was ready, but he said that he would send someone to ask Bai Luoluo to come downstairs to eat, and asked her if she needed to eat some heart cushions first. Bai Luoluo immediately goes crazy, she wants to eat dim sum. When lunch was ready, Bai Luoluo went upstairs happily with dim sum from the housekeeper. The butler also asked the servant to brew a pot of fruit tea for her, saying it would be brought to her later. As she ate, she went upstairs. When she returned to her room, half of the dim sum on her plate were missing. "You should eat less, you are someone who wants to enter the entertainment industry, and gaining weight is not enough." Xiao Fu suddenly appeared next to Bai Luoluo and reminded him. "What are you afraid of? Anyway, I'm just a control group. Isn't gaining weight more likely to make her look good?" Bai Luoluo didn't take Xiao Fu's words to heart. Xiao Fu is helpless, this fairy's personality is really capricious. Can she really protect Erlang God like this? Xiao Fu's heart was full of doubt. But it's not its business, it just needs to watch Bai Luoluo complete the script. Let them worry about the affairs of the immortal world themselves. By the way, the local government has already arranged for you to enter the entertainment industry. You can go to the company tomorrow to sign a contract, said Xiaofu. Did the underworld arrange it for me? This efficiency is too high, isn't it? You don't have to work hard to find a way into the entertainment industry, and of course, Bai Luoluo is happy. But on second thought, it seems a bit wrong. Since the local government can help me arrange it, why didn't you mention it before and still watch me search online for ways to enter the entertainment industry? If I had known she wouldn't have worked so hard, just lie flat. I just tried to contact the local government to see if I can arrange it for you. After all, if we expect you to follow the plot of the entertainment industry on your own, we will have to wait for a long time to find your name in the entertainment industry. Xiaofu also has no choice, it's not so easy to enter the entertainment industry. If the underworld doesn't take action, it may be difficult for Bai Luoluo to enter this circle. I have a question. Bai Luoluo was eating a small dim sum and was about to speak when a knock came at the door. Please come in. A young maid walked in with a tray of fruit tea in her hand. Just put fruit tea on the coffee table. Okay, Miss Luoluo. After placing the fruit tea on the table, the maid turned around and left the room. As soon as the maid left, Bai Luoluo walked over and sat on the sofa, intending to continue the conversation just now. I have a question. In the original script, how did the real daughter get into the entertainment industry? She took a sip of fruit tea, which tasted good and was just right for dim sum. Bai Luoluo's happy squinting eyes. She went directly to the entertainment company under the banner of the Bai family for an interview, claiming to be the true daughter of the Bai family. The people of the Bai family entertainment did not know about the authenticity of the daughter, so their impression of her was very bad. After being denied a visa, she made a scene downstairs and was discovered by Bai Fengxi. He was also harshly warned by Bai Fengxi. A true daughter would not give up the idea of entering the entertainment industry just because of this warning, so she settled down at home for a period of time. During that period, I kept playing low and trying to please the Bai family. In the end, Su Wanning let her go and allowed her to join the Bai family's company, which arranged a broker for her. However, few good resources can fall on her head, so she can only pick up what Bai Mengmeng doesn't want. Because of this matter, Qianjin has caused trouble several times, and the Bai family is becoming increasingly unhappy with her. Fortunately, I don't have to go through this plot. I don't want to go to the company gate and make a big fuss. After returning home, I still have to lie low and play tricks on the Bai family in order to get a chance to enter the entertainment industry. She can't bear this injustice. Even though she doesn't have a high status in the immortal world, Grandpa Yu treats her extremely kindly and she hasn't really suffered any injustice. After chatting with each other for a while, the servant came up and asked her to come downstairs to eat. Although she ate a plate of dim sum and drank a cup of fruit tea, she can still eat. Although there is no spiritual energy in the mortal world and the air quality is extremely poor, the food here is really delicious. Pai Dian went downstairs, looking at the table of seafood feast. Bai Luoluo was so happy that his eyebrows and eyes curved. Food, she's here. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Today is a good day. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. Today is a good day. Bai Luoluo faced a table of delicious food and enjoyed it. The Bai family, who happened to be returning home, saw this scene and became unhappy. Bai Mengmeng had a car accident, and even 5-year-old Bai Jian was taken to the hospital to see his aunt. Only Bai Luoluo ate and drank like a carefree person. This made the 4 brothers of the Bai family even more dissatisfied with her. Mengmeng had a car accident, and she is still lying in the hospital. You can still eat it, how can you eat it? Bai Chenbei angrily pointed at her and shouted. Bai Luoluo finished eating the lobster ball in his mouth, and then said slowly. Why didn't she let me eat when she was in the hospital? I didn't hurt her. No one can deprive her of the right to eat. Why didn't you do it? If it weren't for coming back to see you, how could she have had a car accident? Seeing her indifferent attitude, Bai Chenbei became even more angry. It's clearly because of her that Mengmeng got into a car accident. She was so lucky that she didn't even care and still had a big meal here. I don't remember when I had a meeting with her. Don't try to knock me off. Surprisingly, I knocked a goose, so vicious a man. I'll let you eat. She couldn't say it, but Bai Chenbei didn't say anything at all. He walked over angrily, wanting to turn the table on the seafood feast. In short, Bai Luoluo will not let him feel better, and he will never let Bai Luoluo feel better. Don't you want to eat? You can eat shit. As a result, he rushed forward and forcefully lifted the table, suspicious. Surprisingly, it didn't stir. When did his table become so heavy? Bai Qindong persisted in exerting force again, but the result remained the same. Young man, I advise you to think carefully before taking action. If you dare to lift my table, I will lift you. Bai Luoluo's small hand was pressing on the table, looking at Bai Chenbei with a gloomy expression. She rarely eats a feast from the mortal world, and actually wants to lift her table. Her hands are so itchy, she wants to hit someone. Bai Luoluo's murderous gaze startled Bai Chenbei. Bai Fandong's eyes were slightly darkened. Even though she was just a little girl who grew up in an ordinary family, how could she bring such a strong sense of oppression to people? This is not right. All right. Stop making trouble, Xiaobei. Don't bully your sister. Luoluo has just returned, so don't be too strict as an older brother. Su Wanning seemed to have just realized and quickly spoke out to stop it. Mom, it's her who went too far. That's why Lao Si wants to teach her a lesson. Mengmeng is living in the courtyard, and she actually celebrates by having a big meal at home. This girl just wishes that Mengmeng couldn't leave the courtyard. The cold gaze of the third person, Bai Fengxi, fell on Bai Luoluo. On my first day back, I deliberately caused trouble, and it's not a fuel-efficient lamp. Luoluo, you. Su Wanning frowned upon hearing this. She likes a harmonious family and likes kind and sensible children. Bai Luoluo is too rebellious and unruly, showing no concern for cute injuries. Her indifference added a hint of displeasure to Su Wanning's heart. I originally wanted to make up for this daughter's worries, but it also faded a bit. What does it have to do with Bai Mengmeng when I eat my big meal? She's hospitalized and I can't have some good food yet. She is the one who is hospitalized, not me. Even what I eat has to be influenced by her. If she dies one day, will I still have to go to her grave and wear mourning clothes? Bai Luoluo is not used to them. Most of the Bai family are smart people, but smart people have a common problem of thinking too much. She eats an ordinary meal and can even go on duty to celebrate Bai Mengmeng's admission to the hospital after a car accident. It's a pity not to write novels because of this brain-boosting ability. Bai Luoluo, how could you say so harshly? Said the second person, Bai Jingnan, with a displeased expression on his face. Apologize. Bai Fandong's eyes were extremely cold. When Bai Qindong was talking to her before, these three brothers didn't say a word, just watched the good show on the side. Now one by one, they have come out to act as just messengers. Mom and Dad, you don't care about these four brothers of mine. Do they treat me like this? Either they make me apologize or they lift my desk. Since you don't welcome me, why are you picking me up? I'm not coming back to this house to be comforted. After speaking, ignoring the expression of the Bai family, she called the butler and asked two people to help her deliver the food to her room. I don't want to watch this group of people eat, which affects her mood for eating. A bad mood can affect the taste of the food. The butler glanced in the direction of Bai Maolin and received his signal before sending the food to Bai Luoluo's room. When your parents pick you up, they naturally want to compensate you. Your brothers are just too worried about being cute. Don't take it to heart, let's talk about them later. Although I am somewhat unhappy with my daughter's temperament, it is normal to feel a little emotional when I think of how she has been wronged for so many years. Bai Luoluo rolled his eyes wildly in his heart and said, don't turn back. If you have the ability, just say it now. But at least she held back and didn't say this sentence. She doesn't want to spend all her dinner time arguing with the Bai family. Her feast is still waiting upstairs. Mom, you can find a time to talk about my brothers on your own. I'll go upstairs for dinner first. Without looking back, he walked upstairs. She's here for her seafood feast. As Bai Luoluo left, the atmosphere in the entire living room instantly became somewhat peculiar. Wanning, you go back to your room and rest first. You guys come with me to the study. After speaking, Bai Maolin walked towards the study first. The brothers dared not delay, and those following behind Bai Maolin also entered the study. Han Liangxin, who had remained silent, carried her son back to the room. Although Bai Mengmeng had a car accident, she was not actually injured at all, she was just a little frightened. Although they were only slightly frightened and didn't even scratch, the Bai family acted as if Bai Mengmeng had been seriously injured. If it weren't for her strong opposition, Bai Fandong, a good father, would have planned to have his 5-year-old son spend the night with his sister in the hospital and provide her with a bed. Saying it's a bed companion is actually asking her son to stay in the hospital to relieve Bai Mengmeng's stress. What's going on? Is her son a toy? What happened to the Bai family here? Bai Luoluo doesn't have the mood to care. She's having a big meal in her room. Listen to music while eating. The deafening sound of music echoed throughout the entire White House. Han Liangxin was momentarily stunned by the music and couldn't help but laugh. She guessed that the faces of the Bai brothers would be quite exciting. Today is a good day, anything you want can be achieved, and tomorrow is another good day. The sound of the music is played loudly, ensuring that you can hear it both upstairs and downstairs. I don't know if geese and geese hold grudges, isn't it that she's celebrating? How about not playing some music? Listening to music and having a big meal, today is indeed a good day. At this moment in the study, the faces of the father and son of the Bai family were not very good. Dad, Bai Luoluo was just intentional. Bai Qianbai said. She came for our family's money, and this kind of person has no right to be our Bai family's daughter. Bai Fandong. She can't compare to a cute strand of hair, said Bai Jingnan. Dad, must she stay at home? Can't you give her some money to send her away, said Bai Fengshi. For brothers, every word you say makes it clear that I don't welcome this younger sister who hasn't been raised in the Bai family since childhood. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Signing Brokerage Companies. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. Signing Brokerage Companies. By Mao Lin glanced lightly at his 4 sons. I know you prefer cute, but remember, Luoluo is the daughter of my Bai family, and she has the same blood as you. Even if you can't love Luoluo like you love cute, don't make it too obvious on the surface. Especially you, Bai Qianbai. Today is the most enjoyable time for Bai Qianbai to jump around. If it weren't for observing Bai Luoluo's behavior, he wouldn't have allowed Bai Qianbai to act recklessly. Although the Bai family has already had someone investigate Bai Luoluo before, they also have a certain understanding of her personality. But there must be a difference between what others have discovered and what they have seen with their own eyes. Bai Mao Lin has always been suspicious and will not have a fixed impression of Bai Luoluo based solely on an investigation report. He still believes more in his own eyes. The fact proves that he is right, and his down-to-earth nature clearly differs from the information investigated. What kind of person is Bai Luoluo, and whether it is worth the Bai family's effort to cultivate her, still needs to be seen again. I know now, Dad. No matter how rebellious Bai Qianbai is outside, he dare not temper himself in front of his father. You all go out, remember to prepare a gift for Luoluo tomorrow. Waved his hand and Bai Mao Lin gestured for his sons to go out. Only Bai Fandong stayed behind, knowing that his father must have something to say to him alone. When Bai Fandong returned to his room, it was already half an hour later. The music in Bai Luoluo's room has also stopped. If it doesn't stop, Bai Qianbai will probably go and smash the door. Han Liangxin, who was about to take a nap in bed when Bai Fandong returned to his room, did not say a word to greet him. Their marital relationship has always been like this, and they usually have nothing to say. Tomorrow you prepare a gift and give it to Bai Luoluo for breakfast, saying it's a welcome gift for her to come home. Bai Fandong said as he changed his clothes. I have prepared the gift and I will give it to Luoluo tomorrow. Although Bai Fandong did not mention this matter, there is no need for anyone to remind him about preparing gifts or anything else. She had already prepared it, but she didn't expect that Bai Fandong, the older brother, had never thought about preparing a gift before. I guess I only thought about this after being reminded by my parents. Indeed, in the hearts of the 4 brothers of the Bai family, only Bai Mengmeng is their younger sister. Anyway, she is also a biological sister who has been suffering for many years due to blood ties and ups and downs, but she doesn't take it to heart at all. Bai Fandong nodded, his cold and stern face adding a touch of softness. He is quite satisfied with Han Liangxin's wife. She is a good wife helper, but unfortunately she doesn't get along well with Meng Meng. If she can get along well with Meng Meng, this wife would be even more perfect. Fortunately, Han Liangxin didn't know what he was thinking. If she knew, she would definitely give him a thumbs up. Dog man, really not something. The next day Bai Luoluo got up early in the morning and didn't even have breakfast at home, so the driver took her to the city center. She is going to sign up as an artist. Starlight Media. It should be here. Bai Luoluo looked up at the big characters Starlight Media on the building. Starlight Media is not a big company, but a small entertainment company that has been operating for less than 3 years. The boss of this company is a wealthy second generation, and his family is very wealthy. Opening an entertainment company is just someone's interest, and they don't rely on the money to make a living. The reason why Bai Luoluo was arranged to sign a contract with this company is because one of its agents has a barely established relationship with the local government. According to Xiaofu, the agent's surname is Wei and his name is Wei Tian. He was born with yin and yang eyes. When he was a child, he often saw the eerie things in another world and had more contact with it. As a result, his health became very poor and he often fell ill. At its worst, even my little life was almost gone. Later, he met a lucky yin-yang gentleman and sealed his yin-yang eyes, which saved his small life. This Mr. Yin and Yang is actually a yin and yang walking figure in the underworld, and can be considered as a reserve for future civil servants in the underworld. Over the years, Wei Tian has been in contact with that yin-yang walking person. This time, the underworld wanted to arrange for Bai Luoluo to enter the entertainment industry, so they had the idea on his head. Fortunately, Wei Tian was also happy, although he didn't know why the lifesaver asked him to sign Bai Luoluo and bring her into the entertainment industry. But in the spirit of repaying kindness, he agreed without asking too many questions. Following the call given by Xiaofu, Wei Tian quickly came out and led Bai Luoluo to his office. "Feel free to sit down and have something to drink. There's coffee and oolong tea," said Wei Tian, a man in his 30s. He is about 175 tall, slightly overweight, and laughs like Maitreya Buddha. Oolong tea. Although she doesn't like drinking tea, she doesn't like drinking coffee. Why do people like things that are sour and bitter? Goose and Goose express not understanding. Wei Tian took out a can of oolong tea and gave it to her, and even helped her open the pull tab. Bai Luoluo didn't hesitate to take a sip of oolong tea. "This is a prepared contract, please check if you are satisfied first. In this industry, although I am not a newcomer, I have never made a name for myself and my resources are limited. If you sign with me, I will be your agent from now on. In terms of resources, I can only guarantee to give you the best I can, and I cannot guarantee anything else." Wei Tian was also honest. Since he wanted to sign the contract, he definitely wanted to make things clear with the other party. This girl can meet Mr. Yin, and the future will never be bad. If you really want to join this circle, you should have a better choice, but I don't know why you have to sign with small companies like them. That's it. Anyway, she came to be the control group, not a big star. As soon as her role ended, she immediately withdrew from the circle and left. Bai Luoluo reviewed the contract from beginning to end, and it was quite thick. The above terms are mostly fair, not those so-called domineering terms. Most importantly, this contract does not impose significant restrictions on her and gives her a lot of freedom. This is what satisfies her the most. The money can be reduced a bit, and the degree of freedom must be high. You should know that she has other tasks, and doing these tasks also takes time. After both parties were satisfied, Bai Luoluo finally successfully signed the contract. Late at night, in a high-end apartment. Who? Yang Su woke up from the nightmare with a sweat all over his head. A gentle and jade-like face carries a hint of pale and powerless. "Asu, you have another nightmare." The light in Yang Su's room was turned on, and a man in pajamas hurriedly came to Yang Su's bedside. The man's name is Jocelyn and he is Yang Su's agent. As soon as Yang Su debuted, he was his mentor. Over the years, their relationship was not so much a relationship between artists and agents, but rather a close friend. Yang Su adjusted his breathing and quickly calmed down. "I dreamt of that person again," he said. End of this chapter.